Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $20,000 Modern Invitational here in sunny Caldwell, Ohio. I guess it's dark.
It's not sunny anymore.
In dark Caldwell, Ohio, it's cold, it's rainy, and we have four players left battling it out for the championship. The winner gonna win $4,000, put their name or their name and face on a token, as well as winning this trophy right here.
This,
Please don't poke me in the eye
yeah,
with that. Holy, that thing is
it's
sharp.
part trophy, part lethal weapon.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Lethal Weapon 3 though. That's my favorite.
Well, this is lethal weapon 4, season 4 invitational.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Not a big fan. That one had Joe Pesci in it, I believe. I'm not the biggest fan of that one. So, just kidding. Whatever. Moving on. We have four players left in the event, and three of them happen to be playing Primeval Titan. The one standout, Brendan Lane on Dimir Frogtide. He's the person we're going to be rooting for, just because it's not Titan.
A lone hero emerging from the crowd in a world dominated by forest-dwelling giants. Brendan
Yeah. How
Lane
can we spin this into an actual story?
is humanity's
Yes, yes.
last hope.
All right. Well, four players left. Let's go over the bracket, and we're going to be going over. Let's go over the backup match for this round. It's going to be TJ Radizak on Amulet Titan in the 2 seed. Going to be battling out against Kolvos on Amulet Titan in the 6 seed. TJ is going to be on the play. Amulet Titan on the play. I'm picking TJ.
Yeah, the play is certainly the defining variable here, the largest variable. Looking at their list, they're quite similar. It's actually Cole and Blahnik who are playing very similar lists. Their lists only differ by 2 cards, and one of them is their choice of green fetch land.
Oh,
So
cool.
different but functionally the same. They differ by 1 card in the sideboard, and that's it. The one major difference between their list and TJ's is both Cole and Gabriel are playing a singleton copy of Dryad of the Elysian Grove and a single Valakut in the main. So they have another angle of attack that they can win with the Dryad of Valakut plan. And they are also playing 3 copies of Malevolent Rumble. So a little bit more consistent, but TJ has more copies of Explorer, and I think that makes him more explosive, and I'd rather be the more explosive deck in the mirror.
Okay. On the other side of the bracket, that's where we're going to be starting. That's the 8 seed. Gabriel Balanik going to be on the draw with Amulet Titan against Brendan Lane in the 5 seed on Dimir Murktide. We just watched Brendan Lane defeat arguably the best player in the room, but definitely the best Titan player in the top 8. Maybe second best. TJ Radizak's got a healthy
TJ is,
argument. Not gonna talk down about that. But Lane already defeated an excellent Primeval Titan player. Is looking to fight against Balanik, who is no slouch. Qualified via last chance qualifier last night, ran the table last night and today, put himself into top 8.
Yeah, Lane has to be feeling very good here. Going to be on the play as the 5 seed against Balanik's 8 seed. Already beat Ryan Bellamy, as you said. So I'm going with Lane all the way. I think our hero is going to take this one down.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. All right, I'm a big Frog, Murktide fan. Frog, Oculus, they're all my jam. So let's head on down to the feature match here, and we're gonna watch Brendan Lane battle it out against Gabe Balanik. Looks like Balanik has mulligan to 6, as notated by the die there, and Lane gonna be on the play. Leads with Pluto Delta.
Now, playing the Rumbles and the additional avenue to victory with Dryad and Valakut, I don't think is as relevant in the mirror, but it is relevant in a matchup where your opponent has a lot of disruption. So I like the Balanik Vose list against Brendan Lane. I just like it less in the mirror.
All right, turn 1 Amulet of Vigor, classic. We're gonna fetch Undercity Sewer, double classic, top card.
He's
Go
put
to the
Oculus in the
graveyard.
graveyard every other time,
Yeah.
but not now.
Finds Bloodstained Mire to go to the grave, and now land number 2 going to be a second Undercity Sewer while the shields are down. And with the trigger on the stack, we're going to go for a Consider. We're going to keep it and now Surveil.
Because the Consider will clear the top card regardless, you know you get to see a fresh card for the sewers, so you certainly want to consider first.
Okay, second Amulet for Balanik. We could have Fireworks on turn 2. Let's see if he's got it. Lotus Field plus Titan is game over.
I see the Lumra in hand for Balanik. Looks like just Vesuva copying the opposing Undercity sewers. He's going to Surveil, and then that will untap twice from the amulets.
I guess we're just looking for green sources, but maybe not. Maybe we're looking for Titan as well. I saw the Lumra, as you said, but I thought I also saw the... Oh,
Okay, there's an expedition map.
okay.
That will get the party started by you finding either a bounce land or a Lotus Field.
No Harbinger of the Seas for Brendan Lane. Going to pass back with 3 mana open. Has Bowmaster to come down and maybe start putting on some pressure.
Yeah, he has Counterspell. If Balonic presents a threat, that will win the game. He has Bowmasters if Balonic doesn't, so he can start the clock.
Blonic here with a lot of potential lines. No green mana right this moment. Can play Shifting Woodlands. That'll give him some green. Found Malevolent Rumble. We can cast that for the turn.
Yeah, with 3 untapped mana for lane, Balonic doesn't want to go for a Titan that will just eat a Counterspell. He's going to continue setting up and likely try to use this Expedition map to find a Cavern of Souls.
Malevolent Rumble. I believe there's no mana floating. We're going to look at the top 4. Finds a One Ring, a land. I think that's an Explorer, but I can't quite tell.
Oh, there are no Explorers in Balonic's list.
Okay, maybe it's another Rumble then. I'm not sure. Oh, that's an Analyst on the bottom. Okay. So keeps the One Ring. Makes a Scion. And I'm going to pass turn. Bowmaster, end of turn, going to come down and snipe that token. We'll sacrifice it for sure. We're going to use that with the mana to crack the Expedition map, which recently reprinted into Magic Foundations. It's going to be in Standard. It's going to be in Pioneer. Very, very cool. Now we're going to use it to go get that Lotus Field. Back to Brendan.
No Cavern of Souls in their deck. Should have checked for that one. So unfortunate for Balonic and Vose to not have that tool against Brendan Lane.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even good enough out of Bellamy's deck. And they don't even have it to give himself a shot against hard counterspells.
Yeah, used to be a staple in the deck. Now, sometimes it's in the sideboard, sometimes it's not anywhere.
Okay. Maybe too worried about the moon effects. Here's a Watergrave untapped.
So now Lane can deploy a 2-drop and still hold up Counterspell.
Yep. Prepare for frogging.
Frog or a second Bowmasters?
Looks like it's going to be a Bowmaster. We're going to pass back Balonic's way. A lot of potential this turn. Let's see what Balonic wants to threaten.
Yeah. Just drew a Simic Growth Chamber. That's an excellent draw with 2 amulets on the battlefield.
Bless you. Sorry about that. Balonic here, thumbing the One Ring, but we're going to start with Lotus Field. Triggers on the stack. We're going to start floating some mana here. Gets out the monikers. Monikers? I don't know. Whatever. The
Placards.
placards. That's the word. Make 3 blue, make 3 green, and now we got to sack 2 lands.
6 green.
Okay.
And now taps the Vesuva. That will make a blue since it was copying Undercity Sewers. And he sacks Vesuva and Lotus Field.
All right. Is this Shifting Woodlands anything? Can we copy something from the graveyard?
There's Aftermath Analysts at the Rumble.
Oh, wow. Does Lane have any answer to this?
So I think this is just a kill.
Is this just infinite mana?
I guess he needs a way to actually end the game, but he gets to reuse all these lands.
Well,
Wow.
what all lands were they? What was the kill? He had Counterspell in hand. I don't know. But Lane figured he was dead, packed it in. Unfortunate.
Shifting Woodland and milling the Analysts killed through the Counterspell.
Wild. I'm really not sure how the game was going to physically end there. So, anywho, as these players reach for their sideboard, we are going to take a look ourselves. On Brendan Lane's side, we've already seen him face Titan before, but what are the cards that you think will be coming in to give him a shot against Balonic's Titan strat?
So Lane has 4 Consigned to Memory, 1 Graveyard Trespasser, 1 Harbinger of the Seas, 2 Mystical Dispute, 2 Surgical Extraction, 3 Thoughtseize, and 2 Toxic Deluge. The 3rd Harbinger, the Thoughtseizes, are both great. I like Consign in this matchup. You can counter early Amulets, you can counter the One Ring, and you can counter triggers of Urza's Saga. And we also saw Lane counter triggers of Primeval Titan, all relevant for the matchup. So some number of those will be coming in, and maybe Surgicals as well. You know, once you have Thoughtseizes in, especially Surgical gets significantly better.
All right, on the other side of the table, Bolonic up a game with Titan. How is he going to approach this Frog matchup even without that Cavernous hold?
So he has one Colossal Sky Turtle, one Dryad of the Elysian Grove, supplementing one in the main, two Force of Vigor, one Gemstone Caverns, one Generous Ent, one Ghost Vacuum, four Mystical Dispute, two Pyroclasm, one Spelunking to supplement two in the main, and one Vexing Bauble. So the Gemstone Caverns will come in since he's on the draw. The Generous Ent will come in to help him against Harbinger and find more basics. The Dryad of the Elysian Grove, I think, will come in because it both helps you play through Moon and is another threat that the Dimir deck has to deal with. I think Colossal Sky Turtle, as a pactable way to take the Harbinger off the battlefield, will come in. And the Mystical Disputes are excellent at fighting opposing counterspells and countering Harbinger of the Seas. So it's really all about fighting Harbinger of the Seas from the sideboard for Bolonic.
Apex Con and the Apex Invitational Series is sponsored by Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. Family-friendly restaurant with sports on TV. Check out Wings Etc. today. We're also sponsored by Ghost Energy. Ghost Energy keeps us hydrated and energized on these long tournament weekends. Be sure to try Ghost Energy drinks today. Thanks to SpiceRack.gg. SpiceRack is a brand new piece of tournament software we've been working with in 2024 to run events. If you want to run events yourself or find an event near you, check out SpiceRack.gg. And last but not least, Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard is the industry leader when it comes to TCG supplies. From the Katana sleeves to the Archive deck box, make sure to protect your cards with Ultimate Guard products from your local game store. Players here are shuffling up for game number 2, drawing their openers. So set on down.
Okay, our hero back against the wall.
Down a game, but hand looks pretty good. I see lands and frog.
Being able to land that frog early, especially on the play where it's unlikely Bolonic will be able to cast a threat. Though, turn 1 Amulet of Vigor.
It may seem like, oh, these decks always have turn 1 Amulet of Vigor. If my deck doesn't have turn 1 Amulet of Vigor, it doesn't work. Well, I also see Amulet Titan players mulligan more than any other players on the planet, and they have it for that reason.
Yes, mulligan very aggressively because the Amulet will undo the mulligan. You don't need many lands once you have an Amulet or two and Lotus Field plus bounce lands.
Okay. Here's a Thought Scour. 2 go into the grave. We're going to draw. Looking for big creature to put into the graveyard maybe for Unearth. Well, we have Psychic Frog for Unearth, so that's pretty good too. Brennan Lane going to go fetching with Bloodstained Mire. Let's see if he fetches the Swamp. It could indicate if he has Counterspell versus Harbinger in hand.
Yeah. Lane got kind of aggressive there. Had a frog in hand he could have cast. Instead went for the Thought Scour since he had Unearth, trying to high roll Harbinger or Oculus. Ends up hitting a frog anyway, but that could have backfired on him.
Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what's happening here, but Bolonic plays Amulet number 2 and casts a very fast Summoner's Pact. So if all of this revolves...
This feels like game over, unless there's a Force Negation, which likely would have countered this Pact.
Yeah, or the second Amulet.
Yeah. So
I see a bunch of non-force cards and non-subtleties in Brendan Lane's hand, and I think that... What's happening?
I am not sure. Somebody started...
We packed it in, and I wonder if Bolonic said this is what I'm going to do, but we haven't seen the hands or whatever, so give us just a moment. The head judge, I believe, is heading towards us, but maybe not.
I wonder if this is an issue where Bolonic mis-sideboarded? And the card he was planning to pact for is not there?
Okay.
Like if maybe he needed an Arboreal Grazer and took them all out?
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think something like that happened. I think Bolonic just accidentally killed himself.
I think so too, because they're not packing it in, and they're just shuffling up here. So, jumping the gun, there's Gabriel Bolonic, a long day of playing Amulet Titan, and he just short-circuited for a second.
And this is why we saw Ryan Bellamy throughout this tournament and last month's tournaments, tank a lot at the beginning of his turns. Always thought through before he committed, made sure he knew exactly what the line was and that it was going to work the way he wanted it to, because with cards like Summoner's Pact, if you misstep with them, there's no recovering.
Wow. Intense game there. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'll get some confirmation from Blahnik at some point. Looks like our spotter is telling us what happened.
Well, he said it was Titan played the pack, didn't mean to, and did it, I guess.
Okay, so just didn't have a sequence that could have won. Played the pact thinking he might have, and
Maybe he thought he had 6 and he only had 4 because he had a bounce lane instead of Lotus, and the Grazer wasn't enough to get him over the hump.
maybe. Either way, he should not have cast the Summoner's Pact.
All right, would you like to explain what happened to us?
Yeah. So
You want to do it on the mic?
sure.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, great. Come over.
Okay.
Did you introduce me?
This is our head coach, Elliot Raff. You can just talk to
So what happened there was Gabriel cast Summoner's Pact. His opponent confirmed that it resolved. Gabriel attempted to, then realized, looking at his hand, that he could not have a line that paid for the Summoner's Pact on the next turn.
Wow.
And so basically, what I was conferring with for the judge
Tell them to
was
stop.
sorry.
No, the players are playing the game. Just tell them to stop real quick, please. Just bang on the.
So yeah, just what happened was the player had gained information, so they were not allowed to take back their pact and conceded.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
gotta be careful with the Summoner's Pact. And I have to assume Bolonic will be more careful here in Game 3. So, looks like a Thoughtseize was cast on turn 1 for Brendan Lane that took a copy of the One Ring.
We did have the turn 1 Amulet of Vigor again, and it looks like we've already untapped and drawn for Blahnik, and they're just showing us the
So
cards.
the hand is Mystical Dispute. There's a Crumbling Vestige that's now going to be played for Bolonic on his turn 2 into Spelunking.
Yeah, we get to draw a card, and that lets us
Yeah.
put the Gruul Turf into play as well, and I believe 2 unknowns in the Turf, as well as the Mystical Dispute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Returns the Vestige.
Just pick up the cards, please. Just pick them up. And Malevolent Rumble, top 4.
Forest. Lumra. That's Echoing Deeps. And the One Ring.
Okay. So 1 ring found after getting Thoughtseize. We're going to pass back Brennan Lane's way, but we are behind. Ottawara, the land drop, has Counterspell and the Consigned to Memory, I believe.
Yeah, now that Bolonic has been able to replace the One Ring, Lane's Counterspell looks awkward.
Yeah, now here's Ring, plus we're going to double counter it with the Consigned to
There we
Memory.
go.
Really nice play here.
So the Replicate gets around Mystical Dispute since there are now 2 counterspells targeting the ring.
Yeah, the Replicate on Consigned to Memory, very powerful against protection elements like Mystical Dispute. So good look there from Brennan doing the Replicate.
Yeah.
We're going to unearth here to the graveyard with the Undercity Sewer and pass back.
And with that counterspell, Lane looks fine for now since Bolonic doesn't have a backup threat, but Lane has no pressure, and as soon as Bolonic finds the backup threat, he still has the Mystical Dispute for a counterspell. So the onus is still on Lane here to develop some pressure and either make enough land drops where the dispute is irrelevant or find multiple counterspells. And it looks like Bolonic has found a backup threat in Summoner's Pact.
Yeah, this looks really, really scary for Brendan Lane. He had Harbinger of the Seas in both of the games in the previous round, and now facing down Summoner's Pact, only 2 mana up. Bolonic here, marching to victory. Okay, here's Primeval Titan as defined.
There's currently 5 mana available for Bolonic, but only 1 green.
Okay, here's Lotus Field. It's going to be a lot more green. We have to sack 2 lands.
Yeah, so that gets Bolonic up to 6. Looks like he wants to sack the Ottawara, so he'll float the blue as well. And now cast Primeval Titan with blue floating. Dispute Lane's counterspell.
Yeah, and now Titan resolves. So we get 2 lands, one of which is going to give the Titan haste. It's going to attack. It's going to go get some more stuff. And that's like the best case scenario. When you have 2 copies of Amulet of Vigor, it's a guaranteed kill. At this stage, I think it's just very, 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 very strong. Multiple Titans going to be coming here, probably. But maybe just one in a boatload of lands.
He only has the one amulet, so I don't think it's a kill right now.
Okay.
And if Balanic's not going to kill this turn, the card he has to be wary of is Harbinger of the Seas. So we might see him find double forest.
I like it. If we do that, I think that'll be a really heads-up play to play around the Harbinger and give him a shot to win even through the worst-case scenario. But he might have something better lined up. These Titan players have some really serious tricks up their sleeve.
It does start with Crumbling Vestige plus Hammer of Battlements, gives the Titan haste. Now we get another trigger.
6 damage coming across as well. It's going to send Lane down to 10.
And he's grabbing some non-basics. This could expose him to a Harbinger unless he has something like Colossal Sky Turtle in hand. Or, oof. We know the Ottawara is in the graveyard, so you can't find that.
And we do still have to sack 2 lands. So I think that that's what we're pausing for here. So Blahnik with the Lotus Field trigger attacked and made some triggers, but we still need to sack 2 lands.
No, he sacked the Ottawara and the Crumbling Vestige.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so we're fine there. Looks like he's getting another Vestige, and that's a Simic Growth Chamber.
So is this an intent to return something from play to hand for protection, or just extra green?
He bounces the battlements.
Okay, so without some answer to Harbinger of the Tides, can just die to it here. We're
Yeah.
going to pass the turn back. Brennan Lane has one shot, one opportunity.
I think he'd your Force of Negation. And that is not going to help him at all. He's a frog he could play. Does he have enough cards to discard to check the Titan? Yeah, he didn't. He would have had 4 even if he didn't play a land. Ooh, Oculus. That checks the Titan.
No, that's Murktide Regent,
That's
homie.
okay.
Yeah, get you some glasses.
That does it too. 7/7.
Okay, Titan checked. Balonic.
Forest is the draw for Blahnik, and he has Teleria West was the one unknown. So Hanwar Battlements, T West, Forest is the hand. He uses Lotus Field and Vestige to pay for the Pact. So a risky line there for Blahnik.
Can't transmute Teleria West with the lands he has either. Probably should have paid differently.
Yeah, I could have tapped to the 2 bounce lands and left up his Lotus Field that makes double blue.
I guess that means he's mostly tapped out anyway, but not doing much this turn, I don't think. Even maybe attacking. What 2 lands did we go get? We'll get the Mirror Pool maybe. Shifting Woodlands maybe.
Could get, say, Mycosynth Gardens.
We might just have infinite this turn. I know
Simic Growth Chamber.
Yeah, a bounce land can put Lotus Field back in hand, and then we can play Lotus Field for our land for turn, and that can start all sorts of chains.
Yeah, but I think you want to find another amulet. So getting the one Mycosynth Gardens and copying your amulet before continuing to go could allow Balonic to set up a combo.
Okay.
Instead, he's going to get Mirror Pool and Shifting Woodland. So Mirror Pool will allow him to copy this Primeval Titan, which Balonic does.
Yeah, 2 more lands.
But the Aftermath Analyst isn't in the graveyard yet. He needs to transmute for Pact to find it. I'm not sure if he has enough mana for that.
Not this turn, but he's probably setting up a 2-turn kill with it.
You need 9, 3 for Transmute, and 6 total for Analyst. So, I mean, if he gets Lotus Field, bounce land, and then bounces the other Lotus Field and plays that after combat, that's 8, and the Woodland is 9. That would do it.
Okay, 2 more bounce lands, so we do have the ability to activate the Shifting Woodlands, and we also have 6 mana after combat if we really need it for something.
But that's going to leave him 1 mana short of setting up Analyst.
He hasn't played a land yet. Does that matter?
Yes, and a land drop would get him there, but instead just passes the turn back to Brendan Lane after Lane blocks the Murktide Regent.
Thought Scour, mill 2, draw. Finds another land. I think he has a Born Oculus. I think this game is over, though. I think Blonic's going to kill next turn.
Yeah, he certainly has a kill set up for next turn. He's going to have all of his mana available because he doesn't have to pay for a pact.
All right, so Shifting Woodlands is going to copy something on the end step. The One Ring, and we're going to draw a card. Find Summoner's Pact. And now it'll have a burden counter on it. I'm not sure how the burden counters work if it's not the One Ring anymore.
They stay on. If he copies a ring later and activates, he'll draw 2 cards, but it's never
Cool.
there on his upkeep
To deal him damage.
to trigger. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if those were connected to the burden counters.
Well, it just doesn't have the ability.
Burden counters could be a special counter that have a special rule. I don't know.
And there's another amulet found, so that should make this very easy for Gabe Balanik.
Okay, and we know that Brendan Lane actually has nothing here, so let's just see how the rest of the turn plays out. I believe Balanik will be able to take this one down.
Yeah. Just goes for the Lumra, has the Mirror Pool already in the graveyard, and he can use all the mana he's generating from each Lumra trigger to make copies of it and mill his deck, generate as much mana as he wants, and then start mirror pooling copies of Primeval Titan and looping Hanwar Battlements to give them all haste. And that should end this game, end this match, end Brendan Lane's tournament, and ensure that Amulet Titan will be taking down the Season 4 Apex Gaming Invitational.
All right, small correction. That is Valakut the Molten Pinnacle found, and the creature that is there, I believe, is a Dryad of Elysian Grove, and I think we're just going to kill that way.
Oh, sure.
That one's the simple way. 3 damage to you.
Dryad.
First land drop. Titan can attack. Gonna tap it for mana.
Yeah, and even if Lane had a removal spell for the Dryad, Balanik can copy it with the Shifting Woodland.
Packs it in. Does Brendan Lane and Gabriel Balanik on Amulet Titan wins the match, punches his ticket to the finals, and guess what, Ross? That means it's an all prime time finals here at the Apex Invitational.
Great run for Balanik. Was one of our 8 players who LCQ'd into the tournament yesterday. He got in on the second LCQ. So one of the last players to qualify, but now he's in the finals.
All right. Well, it looks like the other feature match is done as well. That is TJ Radzak versus Cole Vos.
I'm going to guess that Amulet won.
I will also guess the Amulet one. I think that's a good bet.
Can confirm Amulet won, but also, more importantly, can confirm Cole Vos taking down TJ Radzak in the Amulet Mirror